In 1982, we moved to live in a new city. Most of residents were wealthy and we had a very wealthy neighbor. The neighbor we're talking about him that suddenly he inherited a large fortune from his father and he had gold shops. I was a friend of his two sons. The eldest son Harry was 20 years old and the youngest son Diane was 17 years old. Harry was eccentric, had a phobia of people, didn't talk to anyone and didn't go out of his house unless he held the hand of his younger brother Diane. One day we were playing football with our friends and Harry refused to play with us and just sat by the side looking at his brother who played with us. They didn't visit anyone in their home and didn't allow anyone to visit them. I used to feel that they are very mysterious and there is a secret in their lives. My mom liked to make friends with the neighbors, so one day she went to Harry and Diane's mom to talk to her. As days passed, Harry and Diane's mother became a close friend of my mother and told her about Harry's strange illness. She was crying so hard and saying Harry was perfectly normal and suddenly 2 years ago his condition became weird and he doesn't talk to anyone. We went to the most efficient psychiatrists but without avail and we don't know what his problem is. We have discovered that he is possessed by Jinn. You know, sometimes he keeps running and we keep running after him by car. Sometimes he gets up screaming at midnight and we look for him, find him tied by his legs to a tree trunk. She says that his brother Diane gets used to his condition. He sleeps with him in the same room and that sometimes he wakes up and finds him sitting at the window and sometimes at the door. Sometimes he walks on his hands as if he walks on his feet completely and comes out walking on his hands. And when we ask him to come home, he keeps screaming and looking for his brother and hugs him and not be reassured only with the presence of his brother only. She said that all the neighbors know his condition and warned their children not to approach him. As for my father, he didn't believe in the presence of the Jinn and he used to tell me that Harry might have a mental illness and asked us not to be afraid of him and get used to him. My father always wakes up in the morning and gets into his car and finds our neighbor's son sitting inside the car and we don't know how he got into the car. He doesn't have the car key and we don't find the car's glass broken. One day we woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning to a loud screaming sound and it was inside our house and we were all afraid, even my father and my mother, and we searched for the sound and found it coming from the bathroom. We opened it and found Harry sitting inside the bathroom screaming. So my father went to his father to tell him that his son was with us. So he and Diane come and calmed Harry and took him and apologized to my father strongly. We can't move from our home because it's near my father's work and we had another house that we used to go to during the summer vacation and the house had a garden and there was a barn with birds in it. So we suggested to our neighbor that they go with us to spend a day with us, so they agreed and we went. And Harry was isolated from us also and when the night came he disappeared. We searched him and found him inside the chicken coop, cutting off the heads of the chicken with his teeth and throwing them, and his face was full of blood. He was screaming hard and he didn't leave any bird except to cut it with his teeth. When my father saw this, he decided to go with Harry and his father to a sheikh who is known to be religious, and all people say that he can remove the jinn from the body. The sheikh kept reading Quran to Harry and Harry screamed so hard that he passed out, and when he woke up, the sheikh kept reading Quran as well, and Harry was screaming and fainting, and he remained in this for a while. The sheikh told his father that he was possessed by Jinn and there must be some reason for it. When the sheikh asked his father, did any situation happen with Harry that led to this demonic touch? He replied, no, nothing happened. And we noticed that Harry's father suddenly wanted to take his son and go, and didn't want to let Harry sit with the sheikh, and said that his son had become well. So the sheikh insisted that he sit with Harry alone. The old man said to Harry, don't be afraid and speak to me frankly. Why are you afraid of your father and what happened to you? Harry told him what happened to him 2 years ago. He said one day his father asked him to go with him to another city. So he went with him and discovered that his father and 2 other men were searching for treasure somewhere in the city. And there was a magician with them who helped them take out the treasure. He told my father that the jinn wanted a sacrifice and that his sacrifice was me. My father decided to sacrifice me in order to obtain the treasure. So he took me with him. The magician was saying spells over a fire and a black cat came out of the fire and jumped on me and entered my body. Since then I was possessed by Jinn and my father used me to find out where the treasures are. From time to time he takes me with him to different places and I keep running around until I sit in a certain place and scream, and then they know that this is the place of the treasure. When the sheikh heard this, he immediately informed the police. Harry's father, the other 2 men and the magician were arrested. All his possessions has been seized and it was found that he was melting the gold he was extracting, reshaping and selling it in his gold shops.